Welcome back to another episode of Legendary Sickos. On today's show, we are going to talk about our WTF players for 2025 fantasy football, meaning the players that both Pat and myself are having the most difficult time figuring out what to do with. Do we click on this guy? Where do we rank this guy? The players we're struggling with the most so far in our 2025 fantasy football drafts. But first, make sure you head on over to legendaryupside.com, sign up for all of Pat's content, rankings, and everything over there. And then you can come on over to Spike Week. You get 40% off of the Spike Week subscription if you are a Legendary Upside subscriber. But enough of that. Let's get to the show. All right, Pat, we are back. Training camp is off and running. So we here, of course, at Legendary Sickos are off and running. Pat was doing some all over the place traveling. It was DK Best Ball week. It's a hot best ball summer. I've had birthday parties and all sorts. It's been chaotic. We're back now with training camp. You mentioned it right before you went live. It does feel like only the Chargers are participating in training camp so far, but training camp is officially here. I promise you. Listen to this. It's not just the Chargers.
Shout out to in the Leg Up Discord, we have the athletic posts get pulled in as they for each team because it's nice because you get all the team by team posts. Sometimes on the homepage that they don't like, it's hard to find all the little training camp things. But I've been going through, clicking all the posts, reading everything, and it's like five names to watch for Patriots training camp, or like how the Bills defense needs to come together in training camp or whatever. I obviously just X that one out immediately. But then it's like training camp, Chargers, day 3 takeaways. Like day 3, where's day 1 for any of the other 31 teams?
They reported, I believe, on the 15th, either the 15th or the 16th. Obviously, they are playing in the very first, the Hall of Fame. The people playing in the Hall of Fame game, the people playing earlier in preseason are reporting earlier naturally because they need to get their practices in. But other people have reported, and I do feel like I haven't heard a goddamn thing other than which. Luckily, Trey Harris is looking good and in a prominent role. Although QJ also is catching, notably QJ when there's shorts and no pads on, you can almost guarantee you're going to get some QJ highlights. But we're getting lots of Chargers highlights so far.
Yeah, Greg Roman, I've noticed, has been extremely positive about everyone. Like in the Coach Speak Index Discord, I've just been looking at like the Chargers stuff, and it's like just a long list of Chargers players, and he's like, "Oh, dude's so sick."
Gadsden,
and Lambert Smith, and like literally like they'll throw a guy Conklin. He was praising like Tyler Conklin, like anybody that they asked him about, he's like, "Oh man, just so impressed." And it's like, everyone impressive, or that's just how you're going to handle the press conferences this year. So with the wide receivers today, he was like, they were like, who do you like at X with Mike Williams gone and everything? He's like, oh, Trey Harris is great at X, but Quentin Johnson can definitely play X, and Jalen Reagor is super sick at X, and Ladd, honestly, Ladd could play X too, and frankly,
and then Harbaugh came over
Lambert Smith.
Harbaugh comes over, and if we need Justin Herbert to play X, I'm not sure if you guys are aware, Justin Herbert's a really good football player.
Yeah, I mean, it's like he literally listed everybody. So I don't know. It's like a little bit less. I think I'm to the point where Greg Roman saying positive, happy things isn't necessarily moving the needle for me that much because he keeps saying them about everybody. But you still want to hear. If you don't hear anything, in retrospect, maybe it was pretty bad news that we never heard anything about Kamani Vidal.
Yeah, that's that is a great point. So NBA Summer League just finished up, and I promise I'll translate these things because no one cares about this besides me. But I love the total niche grinders. I feel like you find it's like while watching Tuesday night college Maction, right? That's where you saw Harold Fannin. It's like if you didn't tune into Tuesday night Bowling Green against Kent State, you weren't gonna see Harold Fannin. But I enjoy because it's like the kind of kids trying to make it. Right. I enjoy that part of it. But you also do see some of the guys who take steps and you're like, oh man, this guy's like a real NBA player because he just went out and dominated Summer League. It's like the second-year player took a big leap, but they still go to Summer League because they want to get him some reps. And you're like, oh my God, he just averaged 30 points a game, right? You're like, okay, he's clearly too good for this. That's how I feel about the camp of the positive ones. It's like, okay, maybe everybody getting positive hype it's not the end all be all. But if you're bad and you're not, it's like going to Summer League, right? It's like a second or a third year player and sucking. It's like, oh boy, like being good isn't necessarily the end all be all, but being bad amongst the other really bad players is bad. So like Darius Davis, sorry, bud, because everybody else is getting, it's like, it's probably not that we're drafting that guy, but it's like, that's what we're trying to do right now is decipher, right? We're like, we're deciphering code at this point we're parsing through all this information and trying to figure out what matters. What we're going to try to figure out today, Pat, is another thing that we're trying to parse. Today's theme of the episode, the WTF players. Pat and I have not discussed either of our lists of players that, as the name would dictate, we don't know what the fuck to do with this year. That could be for any reason. There's no rules. Pat can choose whatever he wants to choose for any reason. And I did the same, but the players that we are kind of having the most difficulty, do we draft them? Do we smash this? What do we do with, their position group, et cetera, et cetera. I find these guys to be like oftentimes kind of the linchpin because there's a lot of trickle down effect to like, if this guy's questionable, or one of his teammates maybe more appealing, or vice versa, right? Maybe we're drafting this guy just because we don't like the teammates, and like, there's a lot of nuance to this. But we always talk about the guys we love and the guys we hate, and that murky middle gray area can often be like the deciding part of this. So I don't know if you want to kick it off, or if you got any other thoughts on the overall premise.
No, I like this premise because there's guys that I don't take that much of, but I don't want to be like completely fading. There's also guys that I'm actually fading that I'm like kind of feel like fit this bill because I like don't want to be fading them, but am because the price feels off or whatever. And then there's also some guys that I like that I feel like could fit this too, but you just don't know. But I'll start with now why don't you kick it off, because there's a couple players I'm not sure who to go with.
All right, mine, which I believe is on my version of the thumbnail, is a running back who we have had a very love-hate relationship with over the years. He's now reunited with his offensive coordinator, which at first we thought was a bad thing. Maybe it's not such a bad thing because I guess the old Lions running back coach was the problem for Mr. DeAndre Swift. But I'm really struggling with what to do with DeAndre Swift because I kind of kept waiting, like from pre-draft into the draft into the beginning parts of the offseason to be like, they're still going to add somebody, right? Like, go get J.K. Dobbins, go get one of these guys, and they didn't. They also to the camp hype portion that we were just discussing. I'm not entirely sure Roschon Johnson is on the Bears because they don't talk about him really. Not much of a thing. They talk about Kyle Monangai, but it's kind of in like a weird like, he's a spunky rookie that we like some of the stuff, but he's not that good kind of a situation. And they seem to like DeAndre Swift, but do we like DeAndre Swift? Are we doing the Mike Davis thing? Are we doing the flawed player that we don't really love? He's shooting up boards, which is really what has ultimately spurred this part for me of when he was going much cheaper, I was like, I can dabble here. I can dabble in the DeAndre Swift and like not care that I don't know what the fuck to do with this player. But as he keeps rising, because the running back bros like this guy, because even if they didn't like him as a player, you can project a lot of volume onto DeAndre Swift. You can project a lot of Bears growth with Ben Johnson and the upgrades on the offense, right? There's a lot of projectable positives for DeAndre Swift, and you don't have to pick with, amongst the receivers. The receivers are tricky because like how good are all of them? Does DJ Moore like football anymore? Is Rome actually good, right? Burden, blah, blah, blah. DeAndre Swift is just like, I know he's the lead running back for the Bears, but is he good enough for us to draft him at I could be, maybe he is, but I'm struggling with, I don't know what the right answer to the DeAndre Swift is. Because if we look back and you're like, you idiot, the lead back on this breakout Ben Johnson, second year Caleb Williams Bears offense with no competition, and you weren't willing to draft him. And the flip side is, no, you idiot, there's DeAndre Swift. What did you expect?
Yeah.
What did you think was going to happen? And I could see either happen.
Yeah, I think the Swift one's been hard for me too. I am generally, the thing is with Swift is that I actually was taking a lot of Swift about a month ago because he was cheaper. So you could get him in like the late 7th, early 8th. And when we launched the Sims for the Sidekick, it was like it was just like the Swift came preloaded.
Yeah.
In a way that felt, I was like, are we sure this is good? Like, I don't like doing this, but I think it clearly was good for one thing. Like, the market was pricing Swift too low, and that's why, you know, Swift was really popping as a recommendation, you know, for everything that we thought he would do. He was just underpriced, but now he's not so underpriced, and now you have to think about him more in the 6th round. And it's like, are you going to take like him over RJ Harvey or something? And to me, it's like, no, I am not doing that. But when it comes to like the 6-7 turn and you need a running back, I still do think he's in play. I just really don't love the click because, yeah, I mean, he has such a low floor. One of the things I do like, I'm really torn on Swift because one thing that now that he's more expensive and there's some guys I like there more, like last year, there were certain players where I was just like, nah, like he's not gonna, like Kamara, right? Like, no, that's not happening. Mixon, you know, like, nope, not betting on that profile. And but it's like, what did you expect to happen if they stay healthy? Because like there was no competition, and I just don't really feel like Roschon Johnson is serious competition. I think maybe he could be a Jamal Williams and just score a bunch of short touchdowns. And maybe he can be out there pass protecting, and he could be kind of like a Samaje Perine type of guy, you know, and kind of damage Swift's value that way. But like Swift's clearly the best pass catching running back they have. He's clearly the most explosive running back they have. He's a really inconsistent runner. Maybe they tire of that and just decide to hand it off to Roschon up the gut. But there really isn't. There's not like a bull case I feel comfortable making for a non-Swift Bears running back, and I do expect that there's going to be value here. So, especially when he was like in the 7th and 8th, that's where it's just like, what do you think is going to happen that this guy's not a value here? Now at least, you know, there's other guys where you can kind of like Caleb Johnson. It's like, well, I just think he has a lot more upside, so I'm going to take Caleb Johnson. So I don't know. I think he's probably appropriately priced now. It's just I still don't. I've never liked clicking Swift. I should have been clicking Swift more, you know, a month ago, and I always found it difficult to do.
I am happy with the Swift teams I have from before, but I think when we get to the end, you know, I'm 500 something teams in thus far, and we'll get, you know, I did 1,500 last year. I don't know that I'll be able to get to that. And I don't think I have it in me. I don't think I got that dog in me to get to that number again this year, but we'll see. But once we get to the final number, I don't foresee the Swift exposure going up, is basically what I'm saying. But I'm also willing to admit that, like, it's certainly possible that that's wrong. Like, I think I agree with everything that you're saying, that the player DeAndre Swift and the whole situation, I think this is a better price. But like, I don't know if the Bears really do break out and he really is the man in the backfield. Like, we could be feeling foolish about that.
Yeah,
too. Like, you know, we're comfortable with Joe Mixon ahead of him. We're comfortable with Chuba ahead of him. We're comfortable with Ken Walker ahead of him. And it's like, you know, there's probably more ifs to the how does Swift beat you, but those ifs are achievable. They're not totally. Like, we're not talking about something ridiculous for him to burn me. I will say, shout out to our good friends over at Drafters. So just a quick ADP check. Okay. Rightfully so. He goes cheapest on Underdog at let's call it 71, pick 71, the RB24. On DraftKings, he goes at picks 66.5. So 66. I don't have the RB number in front of me. So just a couple more. It's actually pretty close to still the RB24 on DraftKings. On Drafters, which of course is cumulative, right? It's like the marathon. It's total points over the course of the whole season. So he probably is a little bit better there. 56.8. 56. And I'm just like, I woke up one day and he went from 75 to 57 or whatever. And I was like, I'm like, do I need to go back to bed? What did he really just rise into the 50s? Like DeAndre Swift in the 50s feels awfully rich. And I imagine like in home leagues and stuff, that may be what you have to pay because the projectable volume thing, right? Harvey and Henderson and Caleb and those guys will be cheaper. And then your home, I'm like, oh, man, I just think if he might end up being if he burns me, he burns me type of a guy now with this new price.
I'm at 7% in all my drafts and 8% in Best Ball Mania. And that reflects me taking him a decent amount early and not really that much recently at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna probably maybe I'll end up at like 4 or 5%. That feels fine because his price rose so much, and I've got some cheap Swift or cheaper Swift anyway. I mean, if he goes up into the 5th round, I just won't touch him. If he stays 6-7 turn, then maybe I'll end up more like 6% or something like that.
The receivers there though too, it's not just the running backs. Like you said, in that 5th round, it's like the receivers still are like there's a I don't want to say a cliff dive, but like dude, like George Pickens rocks. Like like those like Zay Flowers, George Pickens, Devontae Smith, Travis Hunter's going there, and after those guys now, it's like I don't think I can do DeAndre Swift over like what and not just any one of those guys. It's like one of those guys is always available. Like at a certain point in the 5th, and Jalen Hurts is there sometimes. And
Say Flowers. I'm not taking Swift over Flowers like ever.
Right.
Once.
Exactly.
Never once.
I just can't. Like maybe once we get to Ridley and Olave and those guys.
Sure.
I guess, but like generally, I don't have to make that decision on on DraftKings and then I'm making the decision against Henderson and Harvey, and it's like, I'm sorry, I just want to swing. With the rookies. So like I said, he's WTF because I could see total egg on face. Like everything I just said, we do this next year. And I'm like, you're a fucking idiot. That was so stupid.
Yeah. Let me, speaking, you kind of brought us to one of the other guys. You mentioned one of my WTF players would actually be Chris Olave.
That's a good one.
What do you think Olave's lowest yards per route run of his career is?
I should know this. It's good. 1.9.
2.07.
That's crazy.
That's his lowest. He was at 2.13 last year, 2.21 for his career. He's played 3 seasons. He's been above 2 every single year. He was a first-round pick, the 11th overall selection. Really strong prospect. Not a perfect analytical prospect, but pretty strong. Film guys loved him. Attitude stuff and work ethic, all like gold star. So what's not to like? The problem is that his quarterback's Tyler Shuck. That's what's not to like, and he's dealing
or Spencer Rattler.
Which
we saw that dog and pony show last year.
He's had concussion issues. He's got a team that's probably going to be pretty run heavy. Maybe very run heavy.
They're going to want to be, I would imagine.
They're going to want to be.
Try.
But there's different ways to be run heavy. Like you can be like run heavy like the Lions, where you go in, you have a game plan, you hit the team with your best punch, they hit back and hit back and hit back, and then you go, okay, we're down 3 scores, we got to throw.
Yep.
And you throw. You can also play it like Arthur Smith, where you just go in and you run the game plan that you came with, regardless of what happens on the field. And you lose by 3 scores if you got to lose by 3 scores, but you're not going to, I mean, it's weak. It's weak to pivot, to adapt to circumstances. What could be weaker than that? So I don't know. I honestly don't know how Kellen Moore's going to play this, because he does have a rookie quarterback, and this is his first chance, maybe only chance to be a head coach. So does he want to like risk getting exposed with you let Tyler Shuck drop back all the second half and he threw 3 picks. Like, what do you do not know how to coach type of stuff. So I'm like, Olave is so clearly a good receiver, but the situation is bad. And then you do have to add on the concussion risk to an extent. And that's obviously tough to know exactly how to factor it in, but it's a little bit different than, just any kind of random receiver in this spot, I think. So he's just been tough for me. Like I want to be more in on Olave than I am. I'm not really drafting him that much. I know Jacob Sanderson is pretty in on him, or at least was recently. I'm at 4% right now in BBM. It doesn't feel good because I think he's a good player. But I'm at 4% overall as well. But I don't know. Like, I guess I just don't know what he's got a rookie quarterback, who's
a
not
bad
very
one.
good.
A bad one. Yeah. This isn't like, oh, he's got Drake May, or he's even like JJ McCarthy. This is like they took a 5th round prospect in the 2nd round, and that's his quarterback.
This
and
is
the alternative is worse. There is no saving grace.
Like,
there is no worse. There's not even a Jameis in the holster, right? There is no fallback plan. They don't have one. It's Rattler or Shuck, and that's bad and worse.
If Shuck is Davis Mills, I think that's a win.
Yeah. Who held back Nico Collins, by the way.
Yeah.
We see what Nico Collins is, a 1st-round player, one of the best wide receivers on the planet, and Davis Mills held that dude back. So, and that's the bull case we're making for Shuck.
Yeah, so
not great.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm going to be thinking about Olave because I don't want to be with a player that talented. And also, it's like, hey, the things I tend to preach are like, bet on talent. I'm not really like an injury prone guy,
Right.
But those are like my two biggest concerns are, does he stay on the field, and the situation, even though I do think he's really talented. So it's just a difficult spot for me to find myself in not like a heavy fade, like never ever take him, but definitely significantly underweight right now.
This probably should have been my guy because I pretty consistently had Olave ranked ahead of ADP and still struggle to click to truly click the button. And then I'll make the excuse like, well, Trayvon's here, or Harvey is here, or what, and that's not necessarily an excuse because I do have those guys ranked ahead of Olave, and I like those guys and structure all the bullshit, right? Cop out reasons we give for not drafting players. But like, if he's a good pick and he's a good football player, there's no, I just pulled it up to, I have 5%, like across all sites. I have 5%. Chris Olave.
Yeah.
And it's like, if he's a good pick and you have him ranked ahead, yes, I get it. You like Travion Henderson better. But like, you're not drafting Travion Henderson on every single team. You're going to have like 20% or 25% or whatever of him. That's 75% of teams that can have somebody else. And only 5 of that 75 has Chris Olave. Is that right? And like, I don't know. I from a rankings process, my general rankings process is everything that you just said. I kind of throw injuries out the window, and I don't want to say I throw a situation out the window because that's not true. But talent trumps situation, right? Like he's here. He's only ranked where I have him because of situation. If the situation, like if Derek Carr were back, like we wouldn't be having this conversation. Quite honestly, we might be having it about the concussion.
But we wouldn't. I mean, his price would be higher, so maybe we still would be.
Yeah, true.
A little bit, but if Carr were here, then I think we'd probably be still looking at. I bet he would go at that 4 or 5 turn range because the thing with the concussion stuff is like I think everyone feels that,
right?
And so you'd be like, okay, I'm getting paid a little bit to take on some of the risk with Olave. Draft him in the 5th round. Draft him in the early 5th. I think he'd go ahead of Juwan Jennings, but probably after.
But why would he go ahead of that whole like T-Mac, Pickens?
I think he'd be right there with those guys.
JMO, Sutton, JMO, Metcalf. Yeah.
Metcalf,
there's like a whole mess of we all have different wide receivers that we like.
I would take him over Metcalf with Carr.
Yeah. Oh, slam dunk. Yeah, he's much better than DK Metcalf as a real football. He doesn't. DK Metcalf looks like he's supposed to be the best wide receiver ever. He just doesn't. He plays like Jane. He looks like Tarzan. Plays like Jane. But yeah, he might be the. Swift is up there. Swift might be the running back I'm struggling with the most for totally opposite reasons. I'm like, I don't really believe in Swift, a football player, but the situation feels pretty good. And Olave's like, I'm in. He's good. But like everything else feels bad.
Everything else is scary as hell.
And so I don't know what I truly don't know.
He's a 6th round pick. He's not super cheap. He's in the early 6th round.
Yeah, he's not. We lumped him in the spot where everybody feels this misery, and we're just like, well, he can't go after. Like you're like, we can't draft him after Ricky Pearsall. Like, come on. But we're also like, but we can't go too, remember he gets hospital balled every 2 weeks.
Right.
And Tyler Shuck is probably even worse than the guy that was hospital balling him. So I don't know. I truly, he is probably the epitome of what the fuck do we do with this guy?
Yeah.
So we gave a great answer. We still don't know. That's the answer to Chris Olave.
I'll probably take a slight amount more, but I think like a minor to medium fade on Olave feels right to me. But I don't know. It's just looking at the player profile again. I'm like, yeah, this dude could burn you pretty good. He's good.
Yep. But like, I don't know. I really don't know. How would you go about if you're thinking about with these kinds of guys that I don't know what to do with, and I probably will end up underweight? I do like to think about like, how would you take them? Is it like a Shuck is better? So does that mean take Shuck on an outsized number of your Olave teams, or does it just mean Shuck made the offense functional? So maybe I want Saints with this, right? Shaheed or Juwan or Kamara or whatever. Like would you think about it like that, where I'm just gonna end at like 6%, but maybe I want those 6% to tell a story to where this Olave thing works or the Shuck thing works or whatever.
Yeah, so Kamara, I don't take much Kamara in the 5th now.
No.
So, I won't have Kamara when I'm thinking about Olave in the early 6th, because I would have had to take Kamara late 5th. And I definitely won't have Kamara if I'm looking at Olave in the late 6th.
And then you get double tap Saints in the 5th and 6th.
Yeah. I don't do Shaheed much because he's coming off a knee injury, and he's like kind of a like low pedigree speed player with a knee injury. That doesn't seem ideal. Shuck, I think, is viable if you get boxed out at quarterback, but I also don't think he has the upside to where it's worth like messing up your build in any way to kind of leave a space for him. So I don't know. I probably not. I probably just would have, because we don't have like, if we had clarity on the Saints backup running back, then maybe I'd be like, yeah, the Saints are actually scoring points this year. So let me get Kendre Miller, or let me get Devin Neal, but I don't know who to take. I'm not really drafting Juwan Johnson. There's no wide receiver 3. So yeah, the Saints are just a really uninspiring team in terms of the actual players on it outside of Olave.
And I sort of think they're still at the prices, because we do know Olave is good and Kamara is good and Shaheed is good, like relatively speaking. But because of that little spurt at the start of last year, to where people that's still holding on their price a little bit. Because I don't think you talk to a single person that likes Tyler Shuck, that thinks this offense is going to be good, that thinks this team is going to be good. Most people project them to be arguably the worst actual real life football team in the NFL. They're right there with the Browns and whoever. And so like nobody really likes it, but yet they got 2 guys that are like not that cheap, and Shaheed's in a range that like he definitely doesn't stand out to me amongst those other guys. It's also the quarterback window, right? I don't know. Like Juwan isn't like I don't know, just give me Fannin or give me any other like route runner tight end back there. Like I can get I can buy routes back there. It's fine, especially now Noah Fant's gone. I can buy rookie routes. I can buy veteran routes. I can buy whatever. So like, I don't know. I think I'll just go into the season just being like, I'm going to have a sprinkle of Olave. You know me. I already got a dabble of Kendre Miller because I can't fucking help myself. But brother, round 20 gets bleak. Okay, sometimes round 20 gets a little bleak, and I watched the drill they did in OTAs where Devin Neal looked like he can't fucking touch his ankles with his flexibility. Remember that the medicine or the exercise ball drill that they did where
I didn't see Christ,
man. He looked like Devin Neal looked like a beach whale bouncing around on the ball, and Kendre looked really explosive. I'm like, oh god, they reel me. They signed Cam Akers and I'm out, and they show me one clip from a totally useless camp drill, and I was back in. But I just think like a soft fade, if you will, of the New Orleans Saints feels like if I lose to that, I think I'll be all right.
You'll be all right.
All right, moving on to another guy. This one is a unique case of WTF that I'm feeling, but I'm curious how you're feeling about this person because maybe you're more confident in it than I. But he's been particularly falling, and I feel like over the last week I've clicked a million times. I'm in a million slows, and I keep getting to the 3rd round, And this guy's like readily available constantly. And we were taking him last year at the 1-2 turn, and he sucked ass. But he was like the greatest wide receiver prospect in quite a while. And he's it seems appealing right there. But I don't have a lot of faith. Like last year did not give me a lot of faith. It feels like blind faith for me with Marvin Harrison Jr. I just feel like I'm just close your eyes. Don't worry about it. Right? Don't worry about it. And maybe that's right. But I do feel a little bit of like a little bit of caution. But the price just keeps. I'm just like pick 36 sometimes. Marvin Harrison. Like, what are we doing? But like, is that right? Like, is that the right price, or should I be hammering that guy at this price?
Harrison is one that I want to be like really hammering, but I haven't really felt that I've been able to because I don't think he's really underpriced. I mean, his rookie year was disappointing, and it got kind of more disappointing as it went.
Yeah.
Like I just writing it for the walkthrough, I was like, there was a long stretch where I kept being like, hey guys, like Marvin Harrison has actually been pretty damn efficient for a rookie wide receiver. Like let's like pump the brakes on saying he's having this terrible year, but he kept getting worse and worse as it went, and he eventually fell off. He had 1.63 yards per route run to close the year, which is not bad, and it's better than some other. It's better than Xavier Worthy, even including the playoffs and the Super Bowl. It's like significantly better than a guy like Odunze.
But through like week 10, it was like 2 something, and you were like, "Oh, this looks pretty good."
It was pretty good, yeah. And then he just really fell off. He didn't. He had 111 yards in week 8, and then maxed at 60. Except he did hit 96 one week in week 17. So, and then actually 63 in week 18. Okay, so but yeah, he never hit 100 again. And
I love that 63 is like, 63. Like that's a fucking good thing. Okay.
Well, he hit 63 and a touchdown, 5 for 63 and 1 in week 18, which we don't count.
He did a Josh Palmer spike week, and we're like, oh, gotta draft that fucking guy in the third.
Gotta draft him. Yeah. So the thing with Harrison is that for me, it is also kind of blind faith, but I think it's like good blind faith because we're just like, this dude was one of the best wide receiver prospects ever. He immediately is installed as the clear-cut number 1 wide receiver on a legit NFL offense. Not an embarrassingly bad NFL. Like they're not amazing, but the Cardinals were in the mix. And he's just like could not be more clearly their top receiver from the immediate, week 1 training camp, whatever. He's the dude. And that alone is like really impressive. And then he went out there and was actually playing pretty efficiently, and then ends with a season that's not amazing, but is far, far from bad. And
yeah, he was like 50th. I use a filter on the number of routes. Yeah, he was tied for 50th in yards per route run.
Yeah,
sure, amongst all qualifying wide receivers.
Yeah,
it's not good, but it's like you said, there's like Waddle was worse. Like Worthy was worse. Like you mentioned, the Tank Dell was worse. These guys were all worse than him.
Yeah, and I think for me, that efficiency, you do want to factor in that he was a rookie, and like we could see that efficiency jump quite a bit. And we guys like CeeDee Lamb started out like decently efficient, and then they jump, and it's like, oh damn, okay, this dude's a superstar now. We see that all the time. We're seeing more and more guys who like start really strong and then they take like Puka was like amazing, and then he jumped to like ultra amazing. So that type of thing does happen, and is happening more frequently. But I think generally we don't want to be like that has to happen or a guy's not awesome, because he could still be awesome. Like Marvin Harrison, given his prospect profile in a good, not great rookie season. Not good relative to our expectations, but that's our fault. That it was a good rookie season. He immediately established himself as the number 1 and was pretty efficient. That should not, we should not be writing off anything about his ceiling. He could still be a superstar, like a true superstar. I recognize that Kyler Murray is like not the best fit for him, probably.
Who is Kyler Murray the best fit for?
Trey McBride, it looks like.
Except in the goddamn red zone, because he can't see the motherfucker.
Yeah. they don't move him around. You know, they didn't. But does that mean like some of it to me? I'm like, okay, but all you're telling me, like, because the Athletic had a good pod where they were kind of breaking this down, and they're like, you know, they didn't move him around. He was just kind of glued to one side of the formation. Just this like uncreative X usage.
Yeah, the DeAndre Hopkins.
The DeAndre Hopkins. And it's like, yeah, that sucks. But also we're upset about how last year went. So like of the explanations, of the descriptive explanations for what happened that we didn't like, this is not like really concerning to me. That his like coaches asked him to do a really difficult NFL role, didn't give him easy button looks. Well, they could now. Like, I know they probably won't like become ultra creative, but that's all available to them that they didn't use last year. So that would be like a quick way for him to see a spike in efficiency, a spike in targets per game, like whatever. But yeah, I mean, fundamentally, I think it's just like it's too soon to be out in any way on this guy who's just such a strong prospect and didn't really fail in his rookie year. He just failed relative to our fantasy expectations.
Yeah. I will say it is jarring to pull up the filter by yards per route run, because he is tied with Noah Brown and Quentin Johnston right there, and it's like this makes me feel extremely uncomfortable because those guys stink, and we may talk about QJ in a few minutes, and it's like QJ is like a abject failure to everyone. You know, as a former first round pick, but of course an extra year under his belt relative to, but like he plays with Justin Herbert and we're not giving him the same benefit of the doubt that we're giving. But again, 1 year and the prospect pedigree absolutely matters, but it just does feel like, and this, like you said, I think it's like good blind faith as opposed to bad blind faith. But like good blind faith is probably the correct answer here, but it just really does feel like blind faith. Like just trust the process. Right. Go full Philadelphia 76ers, trust the process, and it's going to be all right. But I think it's possible that the whole world, we were just wrong about Marvin Harrison. I don't think he's a bad football player, but like maybe he's not deserving of this total superstar tier, or maybe he's not deserving of the superstar tier, you know, from a fantasy sense on the Arizona Cardinals with Kyler Murray and with that coaching staff. I think that's part of my concern, maybe.
Yeah. So like, I just pulled up the 2020 class because there were so many good receivers in that class. Jefferson popped off immediately, 2.66 yards per hour. And Lamb was at 1.81, so better than Harrison, but kind of in the same ballpark. T. Higgins was at 1.83, similar. Brandon Ayuk was at 1.73. He had a really people may not remember, but he had I think how many touchdowns did he had? He had a bunch.
Yeah.
I know he only had 5 touchdowns, but he was very productive down the stretch, I think. Because his ADP in his sophomore season was really high, and then that was the year he started in the doghouse and everything.
Is that the shorts? Was that the shorts year that he wore the wrong color shorts, or was that last year? My years are blending together. He got in trouble because, you know, like
Shanahan hates him.
Gosh, Shanahan, Fred Warner hates him. Like, how did they give him How did they give him the bag? How did they all love Debo? They hate Ayuk, and they pay Ayuk all the money. That's so funny.
Judy was at 1.66. That would be like my concern.
Judy, that's a pretty good.
And then like Pittman is 1.44. Those would be, to me, that would be like the he's Michael Pittman.
Yeah.
You know, he's Jerry Judy. I think like that's the downside kind of stuff with the prospect profile. This goes like he can play. He's a football player. He's going to start for a team for a long time. He's going to run a bunch of routes. If this team gives up on him, another team will give him a shot. But is he like that good? Does he need some kind of like huge amount of volume like Judy got last year to really pop off? Like,
right.
I think that's your downside. I'm rated at 8%, by the way. So like I'm not fading him, but I'm not able to go like smash the button. Yeah.
I think I'm going to be over.
I would love if he was cheaper. Like if he was just a 4th round pick, I'd be gleefully selecting him.
I do think, however, not the subject of this conversation, with the Rice stuff, with Terry holding out, with I don't really love those running backs around that like early 3rd, 2-3 turn. Like they're fine. Like, but like I don't want to go into the season with Jacobs Chase Brown, Bucky as like the core of my season. And it's like, well, fuck, man, his teammate goes there. Trey McBride, he is a part of the core of my season. And I'm like, I'm running out of goddamn options in the beginning of the, in the third round. Like, I'm not taking Rice there anymore.
I'm
and I don't
more
want
of the quarterbacks.
Yeah, so that's been the kind of the trickle down. It's like, I don't want to take Marv I don't want to take Marv every time. I don't want to take Devontae and JSN every time. I don't love the running backs. So, what do we do? I've pulled up some Kittle and some Hampton and stuff. Now we don't got to talk about those guys. But the Hampton thing was just I have hefty Hampton bags, but as soon as the Najee stuff started going, I'm like, he ain't getting cheaper. So you might as well just start swinging. And so, but Marv has fallen into that discussion of like, I think he's a good click. I don't think I want my season to depend upon him.
Right.
But it's like he's going to be the last man standing soon. Like God forbid, like Devontae gets hurt or something. And it's like, Jesus Christ, like there's no other receivers left. There used to be all the receivers, but Tyreek's up, T's not available there. It's like, he's going to be kind of the last man standing. And so I think that's what the WTF part of it is, just like, it's blind faith. And then he's just always there for me. He's just constantly available.
No, yeah, I feel you. He's someone I am taking Garrett Wilson over him pretty consistently.
Yeah, me too.
And then Tyreek's usually gone. I don't even have to think about Tyreek. T. Higgins, I'm taking over him. Like a little bit behind on where I expected to be on T. Higgins, but still taking Higgins over Marv. So there's like, how sometimes you get to a spot where you're like, if I'm in this spot, I get this player. But like outside of like, if Garrett Wilson has to be gone, and so you end up getting like a little bit less of them than you intend, or than you would think you'd have, because they don't tend to. They have kind of a tight range where they go, and I'm like, I never reach for Marv because I just take Garrett Wilson, or take
a tight like set of not rules, but like you have like I'm just taking Garrett Wilson over him. Exactly, but other people like mostly agree with you. Generally agree. So then you all just kind of like, he just falls in line. Yeah.
Here's the Marv spot. So Wilson goes, JSN's still there. That's fine. I'm going to take Marv here, but I'm not, but I'm also trying to get more Josh Allen. So it's all, this is how I'm like literally dead even with the market. I just take him when it's time to take Marv.
One thing I really do like to do is, for anybody that didn't listen, Pat and I did a ranked all 32 stacks earlier this summer, and I had to talk him off a ledge with this goddamn chalk Bengal stack that he was trying to push for way too high. Though we settled at a reasonable number.
Hey, if you get Burrow in the sixth, I got some comments, I got some screenshots. Like, yeah, man, this feels so good.
Yeah, fuck those people. I can't believe they would give in to you. I agree though. When you get the Burrow slide, you get that stack, it is awesome. I agree.
Nothing's better.
I just hate when there has to be a rule of I got to get this guy at this price. I can't have him be the top stack. But the flip side of that is I can take Chase and build it through the Cardinals. Side of things, and then do Kyler later. And like you could do Burrow, you could still, if Burrow falls, no one's saying you can't draft him, right? If Burrow falls, you can still get that. And if he doesn't, you got Kyler in your back pocket. And nobody really, I'm not saying, there's always people who take your quarterback from you unstacked, blah, 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 whatever, or they have James Conner. But generally speaking, if you have both of the two Cardinals guys, you have a lot better shot at getting Kyler Murray. And then that makes a lot of sense to me. Like that team makes a lot of sense. And I've kind of started to find I like that better than the Bengals side of things. Cause like I said, if the Burrow slide happens, I can still do it. It's not a problem. It's just I've now opened the door to like this alternative where I don't need it. I don't need that. That part.
No, I like that. Very unique. Bengals, Cardinals. No one's ever thought to do that.
Definitely. No, there's never been anybody that stacked a Bengals game for week 17. Notably, nobody. It's literally like 3 years running. The chalkiest combinations of players are.
It's going to be Bengals. So chalky. It's going to be bananas.
Remember the Chiefs year? Remember the Chiefs? The Bengals Chiefs was the most. Last year wasn't as bad because nobody liked the Broncos. But the 2 years ago, Bengals Chiefs was every single like the highest owned like 2-man player combinations, like the top 12 were from that. or something. It was like CD Amon-Ra was up there because that was that year,
Yeah,
the
that was
1-2
that
turn. And outside of that, it was all the all Bengals Chiefs because there's only so many options and people just fucking Bengals go burr, man.
That was one of the year like you'd build out like this like really well correlated team with like all the stacks. You'd have bring backs on all your quarterbacks are like double, triple stacked. You got to bring back on it. You got little minis going on with like a running back and a tight end, and you're like, I'm like, no one's ever correlated harder. And then someone in the StreamYard chat, they'd be like, not a fan of the Bengals Chiefs game.
No, they play in week 17. Hadn't noticed that every draft I'm in since the schedule has come out that someone has correlated the Chiefs and Bengals.
You're just not allowed to correlate unless it included that game.
Yeah. Oh my god. And it whiffed, didn't it? No, that was Chase. Did Chase?
Yeah.
I can't remember because I know the 1 year Chase went nuts against the Chiefs, but that was when Liam won, I think.
That was when Liam won. Yeah, because Chase
dropped 50.
Yeah.
In that.
Yeah.
In that, but anyway, not important. But dude, it's like a prerequisite to understanding best ball, specifically on underdog, is like who do the Bengals play in week 17? It's like an understanding what's good because like it affects your drafts. Like if you wanted the Bengals, it definitely affects you. If you wanted who they're playing, it affects you. And like
Connor's moved up like 14 picks.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's all just because he plays the Bengals.
It's absolutely crazy. And it doesn't suck, but it kind of sucks because I would just straight up draft Chase with McBride at the 2-3 turn. Like, I don't care that they're like, it has nothing to do with, I mean, it's not a negative, but it has nothing to do with the fact that they're playing. I just love both
McBride's
of those.
Just a great pick.
Yeah, he's just an awesome pick. And obviously Chase is the 101. And it's like, yeah, but now literally everyone, like I have to find ways to build that team differently because there's going to be fucking 60,000 of them. There's so many of that combination. So I just did Marv. So that's back. It's back to you for another player.
All right, I'll do Odunze, who is this one's one of the ones where like I am fading Odunze. Like I have like 1% Odunze right now. I just have a hard time with his rookie season, which was bad. Like Odunze had a bad rookie season. He was really inefficient. He was in that range where like we've seen guys who've like come out of it, but never really been what we were hoping. Like Rashad Bateman had a similar rookie season to
that's kind of an interesting comp, by the way.
Yeah, he was at 1.26 yards per route run, ran over 400 routes. Odunze was out there immediately. You give him credit for that. But so he had over 600 routes as a rookie year. So he did play more. 1.18 yards per route run though is like it's pretty concerning. This is similar to the JSN, reservations that I had last year after being big on JSN as a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately kind of came around on JSN. Gretsch had some really good JSN stuff. Sacrilegious was in my ear about, got to be taking JSN. He was a good pick, but he was a lot cheaper than Rome is. And I'm not sure Rome's situation is better. It's better in some ways by a lot.
Say better prospect as well. JSN better prospect than Rome.
I think JSN was a better prospect than Rome.
Yeah. I agree.
But like the upside of it is better because you get Ben Johnson, you got Caleb Williams, breakout from Caleb in this new system. Rome's the number one. He like Luther Burden can't, get his head right. Rome, DJ Moore's just washed, and he's offense unlocks this star. The guy's a top 10 NFL pick. He can play outside. He's, a really talented receiver. So he breaks out in a huge way. I can see that. I also am like, if he's just kind of like good, not great, is this such a good situation? Because you do have Burden, and you do have Colson Loveland, and you have DJ Moore, and you have a quarterback who struggled last year, and we're kind of just baking in that he's going to be awesome because they changed the OC and improved the offensive line. It's definitely possible he's awesome now, but it's not like a lock. It's not the most stable situation. So you kind of like, you have this parlay thing happening with Rome Odunze, where it's like you need the quarterback to be way better than he was, and then you need Rome to be way better than he was. You have stuff where like Keenan Allen was kind of the number one last year there, and Keenan Allen like can't find a new team.
Yeah, right.
That's not a good sign, for how much Rome was really contributing.
A retired guy was
retired
on
guy.
him. Yeah, not great.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I just like I'm struggling to figure out if I'm sleeping on Rome Odunze or if the market is just way too hot on this guy from the prospect profile, and they're doing the blind faith thing that I'm doing with Marvin Harrison, who's even more expensive than Rome, but they're doing it in a spot where it doesn't feel as good to me because I think that his his yards per out run was lower than Xavier Legette's at 1.19.
It was tied with Greg Dortch.
Yeah,
they were tied for. I have again my filters. 83rd in the NFL, tied with Greg Dortch, behind Xavier Legette, behind Ray McLeod, behind Keyshawn Boutte, Alan Lazard, Curtis Sam. Like he's behind a bunch of guys who we would like. They're like, yeah, the Walking Dead. Like they're all bad football players, and he was worse. Not just like in the ballpark, he was worse than those guys.
Yeah, and I know that like last year was a really bad situation for him, but like one of the things I like to look at is the first read targets. And you look at like Marvin Harrison last year, he was at 19% first read targets per route run, which is like a pretty good mark. That is like, that's not elite. You see guys up in like the 21, 22, 23% range. And those are like your true superstars. Like the entire offense is revolving around this guy. But Harrison, that shows you that Harrison was installed as the number one receiver. You don't see that many first reads per route unless they're calling plays a lot with you as the first read, and then you're actually able to draw a target. Like that's what that means. Odunze was at 11%, which is like bad. That's like a concerning. That's what Ricky Pearsall had. Okay, that's below where Jaden Reed was. That's below like Khalil Shakir. It was actually below Rashad Bateman last year. It was below Michael Wilson. If we want to talk about,
which is hilarious because Michael Wilson notably lower yards per route run than Rome Odunze.
Right.
Last year.
Devon Vele was at 11%. Darius Slayton was at 10. It's just like it's a MVS was at 11%. Okay. Oh, Nick Westbrook-Akine was at 11%.
Saints Hall of Famer Marquez Valdes-Scantling last year.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that at the very least, you would hope that he would have been installed as like a clear-cut, like core piece of the offense, where at least, you're seeing something like Devontae Smith was at 17%, for example. Okay. So I'm not saying like, oh, he wasn't like crushing it and therefore it's over, but somewhere in the like 14 to 17% range, I'd feel a lot better than where he's down. It's like, it's not even clear that the offense was really designed with Rome Odunze in mind in a big way. Now, DJ Moore was also bad in this metric. He was only at 10%, but the first reads don't include screens, and he did get involved in the screen game. So, he did have that going for him. The offense was trying to get him the ball that way. Keenan Allen was at 16%. And that's what I mean when I say, like, I think Keenan Allen was like the number one receiver for the Bears last year in terms of like how the offense was designed. Now, all those guys get fired. So maybe having Keenan Allen be the number one was really stupid and a sign of how bad they were.
Caleb didn't get fired, and he was the one throwing it.
He was the one throwing it.
He didn't call the plays, but it's not nothing. It's not fully gone.
Yeah.
But that's why this is what the fuck? Like, what the fuck, dude? I don't know. It's great. It's a crazy situation.
There's a chance though that like Rome is, when I say like a bust, I don't mean that he's just like can't play, but I do think we've already hit the point where I'm like, are you Bateman? Are you kind of a good secondary or tertiary option for an offense? You're going to have a career. You're going to get a second contract, like, but it might not be like, close to the top of the market. It might be like a cool extension, a we value you extension that kind of in the Bateman zone. So yeah, I I just wish he was cheaper because I don't like this fade. It's one of the ones where like I'm just never taking Odunze. Like we don't have him ranked where really you're going to get much of him at leg up, and I just don't want that to be true. But I just don't know. Like I can't change the price, and I just think this price includes a lot of risk of a guy who just like does not help your team. Like there's just so few weeks where he like hits your lineup, you know.
At this price, it feels to me like we're drafting. It feels. I think the Bateman, like, I know you didn't comp him, but like the Bateman kind of career makes a lot of like so much sense to me. Like good college player, first round, so much so that he's a first round pick, but like isn't quite ready to be, and maybe never was ready to be a focal point of an offense. So he's kind of like this talent bet that's running routes and just never really develops into anything other than, like you said, tertiary. But after years, he becomes a solid tertiary. But that's like a good career arc based on the start of the career for Odunze. Now, again, there's like the situation last year was catastrophic, but the whole situation, not the entire situation, has changed, and it's become a lot of blind faith might be the the theme today, because a lot of the what the fuck guys are requiring a lot of blind faith, and that's kind of Rome. Except I don't have that faith. Like I can't just close my eyes and say, "Yep, I see it," like I see it with Marv, right? Like that dude was a kind of a legendary prospect, right?
Yeah,
Rome was not that to me. He's fine, first round pick, sure. I ranked Ladd higher in my rookie rankings than Rome. I thought Ladd was a better college football player and prospect than Rome. I feel good about that. There's other things that were wrong in the rankings. Of course, I was too low on other guys, Brian Thomas Jr. notably. But like I don't know. I thought he was fine. And so to have that season in a bad situation, to be the worst pass catching option, was not that shocking to me. So I think that's part of it to me, where I'm like, the price now is not dictating what I think about him as the player, and when I combine it with his rookie season, and then when I combine it with the fact that I think you said, like, we need to parlay things here. This isn't like, but Marvin Harrison Jr. just needs to be the Marvin Harrison Jr. we hoped, and he doesn't have to be that. He doesn't have to be first round pick or whatever, but he just needs to be a good football player. And I feel pretty confident he'll be a good football player. Rome needs to be good, and Caleb needs to be good, and Ben Johnson needs to come in and change things, and the offensive line upgrades need to be very real.
And Burden can't be a superstar, and
Burden
Loveland
can't be a star.
this
DJ Moore
really
can't bounce back. DJ Moore can't bounce back. Like they're like
DJ Moore can't bounce back. Yeah,
this is like an 8-legger, brother.
It feels
like
it.
Underdog pays 1,000 to 1 for this parlay we're talking about, and I'm drafting this dude at pick 56. Like what? That seems a little bit like I feel like I can take that bet for much cheap, like the same kind of odds on a bet for cheap. There's arbitrage versions of Odunze that I feel a lot more comfortable with, given what I have. Like, dude, you want to take a risky like type of a young upside swing? Like he goes next to Travis Hunter now. How about Travis Hunter, the second overall pick, who people are concerned with how much? And we've done the thing. I don't want to do the Travis Hunter thing. He is a what the fuck, but he is.
But I didn't want to do him again. Yeah,
we don't get it. We've already done it
so much
because it's really just like how much offense does he play?
Yeah.
Which is like, what are we gonna say? Everybody's said it.
We've said it.
But the market has now baked in that what the fuck is Travis Hunter as a football player. I don't think they've baked that in for Odunze. So yeah, I have 3%, and it's probably not. It's not going to rise. I don't think, which doesn't make me feel, like you said, doesn't make me feel good. But like, at a certain point, we got to like. There's a phrase going around the Spike Weekers of. I apologize. The one person in the YouTube comments, I think on your channel, mentioned that I curse too much, and I hate to tell you, but that ain't going to change. And so I apologize for this. But it's like at a certain point, like we got to put our nuts on the table in this. Like, do you believe in this thing or not? Right? Like, do you believe in your take or not? And like, I'm like, look, I gotta like, I'm because there's some of them where I don't feel that much about. Right? Like the Marv thing. If you wanted to convince me, you're being a little too high or you're being too low or whatever, I think I could fluctuate on that. But with Rome, I'm like, I like all the other guys better. I just do.
Yeah.
So like, Are you going to hedge and be like, oh, I could be wrong, and then you look back and you were right, but you fucked it up because you were too much of a coward? And I'm just like, I'm just going to put it on the table, take my 3% roam when he falls or whatever, and like that's fine. I'm good with that.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said, except when you said I'm good with that, because I'm not like good with that.
That's fair.
I don't like it. I really don't like it. Like he's the type of player I think they could really burn me, because the situation has gotten so much better, and he was a strong prospect. I think it's just, I'm impressed that you ranked Ladd ahead. I think there was reasons.
Don't be that impressed. There's a lot of other bad things that were in those rankings. Like
I am, because I kind of really part of me wanted to be lower on Rome, but there's
you loved Ladd too. I know you love Ladd. We talked for hours about it, and you were too much of a coward. See, you should have put your what's on the table.
I had a lot of Ladd last year in best ball, but dynasty wise, I was just like, yeah, the market it knows what it's doing here. It'll be fine.
Maybe the Bears didn't know what they were doing last year, and maybe that's what we've learned.
Yeah,
they didn't, and that's not Rome's fault, but maybe they overvalued Rome, and now we're still overvaluing Rome because of that. Right? They took him in the first round.
Well, but he was. I mean, you even had the stuff where people were like, I think Rome might be the best wide receiver in this class. Like he was a very, very highly regarded prospect.
Every single year.
It's such bullshit, but it's also like
you don't get that. I'm not listening to Neighbors. I'm not listening to Rome over Neighbors and Mark.
I mean, it was crazy. It was crazy, but it just to say that it wasn't like he was a reach of any kind.
No. He was a good prospect.
Yeah,
and I think he'll be fine. Rashad Bateman was a good prospect too, but sometimes not everybody's a star. Not every good prospect.
Not everybody's a star.
But he better.
We need the stars.
He doesn't have to be quite a star at this price, but he's got to be pretty goddamn close.
Yeah,
because we're not getting a discount on the Bateman career arc. We're betting on the, I don't know, Olave we talked about before. They're like, he needs to be Chris Olave, but on this Bears offense, and he is not that right now.
So here's the guy last year. Yards per route run, 50 plus targets. Jalen McMillan 1.22, Xavier Legette 1.19, Rome Odunze 1.18, Troy Franklin 1.14. You go back the year before, guys in that range, JSN was at 1.32, Michael Wilson was at 1.36. The mega busts were lower, like Quentin Johnson was at 0.88, Jonathan Mingo 0.78. So he's not like in that, oh God, it's over range, but it's not a great place to be. Year before, Jahan Dotson 1.39, George Pickens 1.38. So that's kind of a similar range. That's fairly bullish. Romeo Dobbs 1.36, Alec Pierce 1.24. All those guys higher than Odunze. Rashad Bateman 1.26, Nico Collins 1.24. He broke out. He kind of had that half breakout in his second year, and then he broke out big in his third. But even heading into that, even after he had the good second year, he was still like a 9th round pick. Nico Collins.
Davis Mills, brother. Davis Mills created generational wealth by making Nico not look like a superstar.
Your boy Gabe Davis was at 1.33 as a rookie. Jalen Reagor was at 1.30. Darnell Mooney was at 1.20. KJ Hamler 1.17. So that's going back to 2020. I don't know, man. It's just like, it's a pretty concerning rookie year. It doesn't mean it's over. We've seen guys kind of come up from this. If you want to do the Devontae Adams obligatory, guy had a bad year, he'll be amazing. He was at 1.06, so he was even lower.
That's my favorite argument.
Yeah.
When it suits, if I like the guy, I use the Devontae Adams argument.
Only if you like him. Yeah.
Otherwise, we use the Chase Claypool or something. we use the opposite side of things.
Yeah. So it's. Let's see. Oh, Will Fuller was at 1.18 in his rookie season.
Oh,
first round pick, exact same yards per route run, and then I think he went on to have a pretty productive second year. Let's check out Fuller. No, he only had 423 yards in the second year.
It was year 3 or 4. It was year 3 or 4 because I remember we kept chasing him. That was Watson, Hopkins, Fuller, and all everybody in fantasy football back then.
Honestly, I think it was year 5 because he went 879 and 8 in his 5th year. I think that was the year.
He could never stay healthy.
Yeah. Anyway, it's like the level where you're like, hey man, this is concerning. Not over, but a lot of the guys I mentioned, we're taking more like like Rager was going. He was a first round pick. He was going more in like the 9th, 10th, 11th, I think, after that rookie season.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Obviously, then there's like the lower pedigree guys who are like dart throws off of that type of stuff. Like Michael Wilson was a dart throw last year. Troy Franklin is a dart throw now. So, and then the high pedigree guys like JSN, I mean, in some ways, he's a lower pedigree guy than Rome. I'd give people that because of the draft capital, but I think he was a better prospect. He was still significantly cheaper. He's like 6-7 turn. Rome's like 5-6 turn. And JSN started more like 7-8 turn and then moved up on some hype. So, yeah, it's one that I feel priced out of, and that's where my what the fuck standpoint comes from. Like, why are you pricing me out of it? I'm supposed to be the guy that gets too excited about this. Right. What are you doing?
Right, I was the Gabe Davis in the 4th round slappy. This is like this is my home. Like, this is the exact kind of guy that I should be loving, and I feel uncomfortable about.
I feel uncomfortable. Stop it.
Yeah, exactly. He's good. This is a great list, by the way. Rome is a very, very good one because I think like all these guys, like you can see it. Like you said, you can see so easily how like I draft my 3% Rome and I look back and you're just like. Good job, dumb. Like that was so stupid, but also like it's so easy to see the flaws. That's the point of
it does feel like when you're missing the forest for the trees thing, like, oh, but he wasn't good. And it's like, dude, it was a disaster. He was a really good prospect. Everything that you would want to fix the disaster happened. Offensive line upgrades. They bring in some new weapons. The offense is way more dynamic. You get Ben Johnson, who like any one of us would be like, well, maybe if they bring in Ben Johnson,
he made Khalif Raymond efficient. Like, that's he makes everyone efficient.
So it's a fade that makes me deeply uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I definitely should not have said I'm good with it, but it's gonna happen, and we'll find out in a few months how good
it's gonna happen.
Am with it. Yeah, it's so my next one I'm cheating because it's a backfield. But I thought it would be unfair if I only picked one of these two guys because it really ultimately is 2 players in one backfield on a shit team, and I don't have the slightest goddamn idea what to do with them because the similar pricing issues that we talked about. The New York Giants backfield is the biggest conundrum I feel in any backfield, I think, this year, specifically because of the price. I'm not at all interested in talking about the Cowboys backfield again. But I at least can like start to form coherent thoughts about the Cowboys backfield because it's even cheaper than the Giants backfield is by a lot, actually. So pick your fighter in the Cowboys, but you're getting them for cheap, no matter which fighter you choose. With the Giants, we just like dropped them around pick 100, both of them. And they're both like I've heard people make great Tyrone Tracy cases. I've heard people make great Cam Skattebo cases. I tend to be more of a Skattebo guy because that's just but that's like honestly kind of vibes. I didn't like Tracy the prospect, and he made me look very foolish last year. So maybe I'm being anchored to anti-Tracy takes. Maybe I'm being anchored to pro Skattebo takes, and maybe neither of these guys are worth a shit at pick 100 because they're on the goddamn New York Giants, and I don't know why they're going at pick 100 and like all these other like everyone like every running back after them. Truly, almost every running back after them, like I kind of like it. Charbonnet, Tyjae Spears, the Cowboys guys, like pick a running back that goes after those guys. I'm intrigued, and we just dropped those guys at this price, and I'm like, am I just stupid? Like I'm literally saying that we get to pick 100, and maybe I love the quarterbacks there. So like if I maybe don't need a quarterback on that team in that window, I'm staring down the barrel at the Giants running backs, and I'm just like, do I need to take them here? I really don't know what to do with the Giants backfield.
I'm taking Skattebo at a pretty high clip. I'm at 14%. Oh, 16%. No, that's just BBM. I think I'm at 14% overall, 16% BBM, and then Tracy. I'm at, I think, 5% overall, 4% BBM. So I'm taking Skattebo a lot more, but Tracy's one where I've been feeling like I should be taking more of him. I think the thing with Tracy he's not a fun click because I'm like, I don't think he holds the job all year, but he could. and he does have a 3 down. Like he has a 3 down role that he's starting with. I don't think he's as interesting or exciting as Skattebo, but like I don't know, it's kind of like Rashad White.
Somebody called the cops when we brought up the New York Giants backfield.
Yeah, that was fair. Tough but fair.
he mentioned he had 14% Cam Skattebo, and they were like, "Please, someone call the cops on this guy."
That knock is just. Who else is this? There's only one organization that could possibly be at your door. I have bad news.
I didn't mean to interrupt for that, but that got me. That got me pretty good. Okay, continue with actual good, relevant fantasy football analysis, not that stuff.
I've been wanting to take more Tracy because I do think like he has that like he's good enough to hold off his backup, and he has a 3 down skill set. So it's kind of the White, holding the job versus Sean Tucker kind of thing.
Yeah.
And Skattebo has a lot more draft capital than Tucker, but like he's also kind of pretty Tuckery when you think about it. And so maybe we get we get just Tracy just not being that great, but he gets all the high value touches, and Skattebo is just like not ready or whatever, and he consolidates a backfield, and he's like a really strong pick. I do think it's more likely that Skattebo ultimately takes the job, and Skattebo has such like a high value touch king kind of profile to him, where he's so good in he's so consistent. He's such like a tackle breaker. Like he will, like, if you need him to get 2 yards, he's gonna get 2.5 yards, but he's gonna like put his shoulder through a dude's face to get there.
Coach's dream, dude. He's a real football coach's dream.
He really is. And then he's a good pass catcher. Like he's a legitimately good pass catcher. He's a good
awkward pass protector. Awkward pass protector.
He's got to fix that.
You think he would be awesome because he's just a built like a brick shit house, but he like tries to he's a headbutter as a
awful,
pass,
dude.
And it's disgusting to watch. Go. Yeah, there's YouTube highlights.
Matt Waldman has a good breakdown on it. He posts some stuff on Blue Sky with it. He's just like, what's happening? It's hilarious. He literally puts.
But I think he'll be good. But I think he'll be good with coaching because he has all the tools to be.
He has all the tools. Yeah.
He just needs some coaching. Kenny Dillingham was clearly not coaching Skattebo. He was just like, what? Like, would you want to? Skattebo's nuts, by the way. Like, he's a crazy person. You ever watch it? Like, he gets a run, and then like he always does like with this. It's like he's like shaking out the cobwebs because he just like ran some dude over.
Yeah,
he's like doing this all the time, and then like he'll like look at teammates, and he has this. Yeah, and he's got like crazy eyes going. Like he is an insane human being. So I imagine the coaches just like, do whatever you want, dude. I headbutt the fucking linebacker. I don't care.
Seems like the kind of coach where it's like, yes, that guy.
Yes, 100%. Not the converted wide receiver at running back, Tyrone Tracy. Like these are polar opposite archetypes of running backs.
So I don't know. I mean, Skattebo's big. He catches passes, and he's great in short yardage. I'm like, give me that guy. He's also like he's extremely productive, and generally like he goes early 4th round, but he was seen as like he's in the day 2, potentially even round 2 mix. Like they hit some real fans from a tape perspective. He's not just like this metrics guy. If anything, he's not a metric. Like I would say he's almost like more team tape than team metrics.
Football guy. He's a football guy.
Yeah, he's a football guy who pops in the metrics. I'm kind of and catches passes.
That's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty. Those are some pretty good boxes to check. Yeah. The only thing he doesn't check is explode, like big play. He's not a big play guy, obviously. Yeah, like I mean, he's very slow. Yeah,
he's slow, but I think he can be like a chunk play runner. And this is not going to sound bullish at all, but I kind of mean it bullishly. What if remember Panthers Mike Davis?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Panthers Mike Davis rocked. That's why people took him in the 4th round the next year, because he was awesome.
I think we could get Panthers Mike Davis
like 4.7 40, but he was a chunk. He was a chunk play. Play guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because he could catch the ball and get into open space, and the first guy wouldn't. wouldn't tackle him, right? Or run the ball, make the first guy miss, and you got 15 yards or whatever.
Just racks up catches.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Skattebo's not someone I'm taking. Like the guy I take a ton of in that range is Beimfohr Tootin. I'm at 34% Beimfohr Tootin. He's my that's in BBM. He's my third highest drafted player in BBM behind Luther Burden and Amarian Hampton. So that's where I'm like, hey, what if Cam Skattebo was like 20 or 25 picks cheaper? That seems pretty sick. I'll just take that guy. But I'm also taking Skattebo as well. I think Skattebo has a fairly low floor. It's not a great team. He's a 4th round rookie with like some serious flaws in his profile. Like he's really slow. And the guy ahead of him is pretty solid. And so he could just end up being like a really expensive, maybe not really, but an expensive backup. But even then I'm like, isn't he kind of just Charbonnet? Like, isn't he Charbonnet, right, but he might get the job, you know? And I know it's a worse offense probably, but it's, I don't know. To me, I'm like, Skattebo's not that expensive because I think I'm getting the contingent upside. I think I'm getting the better. He's the guy I would bet on to be the starter by the end of the season, personally. And then if he is the starter, I think he can consolidate the high value stuff. So, yeah, I think he's a target.
He's pretty Charbonnet-y. That's a pretty darn good like play styles. Charbonnet isn't as crazy of a human being, but like not a big right. The concern of Zach Charbonnet was we know he can do all the stuff and he can consolidate a backfield, but does he have the juice to do it? And like, I mean, kind of yes, kind of no, but like it doesn't matter because when he consolidates the backfield, he does all the stuff. He's just not going to rip an 80-yard touchdown run, which is fine for our purposes. We don't, you know, we're not drafting him in the second fucking round. Like he doesn't need to do all the stuff. So I like that. And the Seahawks are not that different from the Giants, at least not this year. I mean, Sam Darnold behind a bad offensive line with Cooper Kupp as wide receiver too.
The Giants might be a better offense.
Like Malik Neighbors is the best player on either of the two offenses, probably by a stretch. And I love JSN, but still,
it's one of those takes. It's like every year we were like, you're not the Giants. Seriously, the Giants. They have Russell Wilson and a rookie quarterback. What are you, fucking idiot? There's no way they're better than the Seahawks. And then like a take like that will be like, I can't believe these idiots were sitting here thinking that the Seattle Seahawks, the most dog shit offense in football, was better than any team. Like, you know,
exactly.
What I mean? Like these teams have the Seahawks floor is low to where like thinking any team is worse than them this year is
they are the house of cards offense. We've talked for the last couple of years about like, you know, different teams being a house of cards. They are, if I had to pick one, the Seahawks are my house of cards. Easy, slam, like easy. Straight to the podium. Dude, Darnold out of Minnesota, terrible offensive line. That whatever the fuck they put together in the wide receiver room is an abject disaster. Like they have a good defense. And like I trust the coaching and all that kind of stuff. And the JSN is good. I think they'll have a good run game, you know, whatever. So like it's not like there's nothing there. They're not the Saints. But like, dude, if it collapses, if we're looking at week 5 and they haven't won a game and you know, they're looking at Jalen, they're staring down the barrel at Jalen Milroe and like, how do we get out of this Darnold thing? And like that would not surprise me at all.
No, I mean, I think we could see it being like they could be going up like against the Falcons week 14. Everyone knows like you got the dome. They're at Atlanta. We're living in a world where everyone passed on the Falcons. Everyone knows you can pass on the Falcons. Falcons are down to pass. Like it's like you're going to get passing volume. JSN's like projecting really well. It's like, hey, you playing JSN this week? It's like, nah, dude, I'm not touching that. I could say like that. That's the level of Seahawks implosion. 100%. I think it's on the table. Now, is it the only possible outcome? Of course not. And I do take some JSN. You know,
no, they could win the division.
Yeah, they could win the division. Yeah. But it's like when you think about how bad it could get, it's like it could get bad.
Dude, if Darnold is seeing Ghost Darnold and the line is bad and Cooper Kupp is dust, like we think Cooper Kupp is dust, this could be the worst offense in the NFL.
Yeah.
Like easily. Worse than the Browns. Yes.
So the running game is not good because the line's bad. Right. So it's like, man, they just cannot get it going and they keep trying.
We trust the coaching, but they don't have. This isn't like a big track record. Like they could get fired. I mean, I like sort of trust.
I trust McDonald to coach a good defense, but
I'm hopeful about the coaching staff. Is that a better? Like I can see a positive outcome coming from the coaching staff. I don't think they're idiots, but if this is a disaster, I would not.
I don't think
also
they're idiots, but
surprised.
I think they like have a plan, and then they're like, if that plan doesn't work, of like Darnold's seeing ghosts, like things just kind of aren't working. It's like, so what's plan B? It's like,
well, you're 100% right. That happened last. That's exactly what happened last year.
Yeah,
they didn't have it. They had no other plan.
B. There's a plan A. That's the problem sometimes with these like Kubiak, Shanahan style offenses. Like you can do really like plan A can work like real well, but then not all these guys have a good plan B.
That's Arthur Smith. That's why we make fun of Arthur Smith.
You know,
these guys show flashes and we're like, oh, they're interesting. But then, like you said, it's because of only plan A, and then the league adjusts and they have no counterpunch, and like it's over quickly. And that guy goes from the next hot head coaching candidate to the laughing stock. Like we're laughing them out of the league in a couple of years because they don't have that. Yeah, exactly. It's PFF Bobby. It's Arthur Smith. It's all those guys. There's a never-ending list.
There's a ton of non-plan B Shanahan accolades.
100%.
Mike McDaniels comes up with a new plan B every year, and then it's like, oh, they figured it out by week 4.
his counterpunch is just a light jab to the ribs. Like it's not
blocking the ribs. Damn it.
Yeah. What like it's like you did a little damage. You know, if you're playing like the video game or whatever, you like the meter went down a little bit, but then they started blocking it, and the meter went back up, and you had nothing.
Oh no,
you had
oh, I'm fucked.
They're the honorable mention House of Cards candidate, by the way. They're most unserious. They are the most unserious NFL team I think I've ever seen in my entire life. Like there's an absolute joke. Yeah, I cannot. I'm so ready for McDaniel.
Maybe my pick to go up against your Seahawks. You got the 101.
We need the. Yeah, I took the Seahawks 101. They're definitely the 102.
Because like I could see McDaniel's out like by week 10. You know, the kind of the locker room's lost. Tua gets shut down. Zach Wilson captaining the. I don't even know who they're. Is it Fangio? Fangio gets a go. Is he still there?
Dude.
Oh God.
They're a mess. They are like Mike McDaniel and whoever is running the Miami Dolphins, like they played too much Madden, but they were bad at it. Like growing up. You know, they just assembled all of the names.
Fangio's with the Eagles now. He's with the Eagles. Okay.
Who is their defensive coordinator? It doesn't matter. But
he was there. He was
just
2 years ago that he was there.
I mean, just an absolute
disaster. Well, no, I did this successfully with Davis one year. I need to find out who the Dolphins coaches are so that we pick the interim head coach correctly.
Oh,
because we did this with Freddie Kitchen. We saw the crystal ball that he was going to become the Giants interim head coach. Okay. Is there anyone funny that could be the Dolphins interim head coach?
Oh God. I was gonna say Brandon Staley when you said it, but he's
Darrell Bevel.
He's
Darrell Bevel.
Oh no,
it's Darrell.
No.
He's the quarterbacks and pass game coordinator, and he has.
He will be it. He has the experience. He's the only guy with experience on here, right?
Darrell Bevel and Zach Wilson. You can't out House of Cards that.
That's good.
There's no House of Cards that could be more collapsed.
Darrell Bevel and Zach Wilson throwing to Tyreek Hill and Darren Waller, dude.
Throwing near.
Darren Waller is going, throwing near, right. Darren Waller is going to be the tight end for the 1-12 Miami Dolphins and also perform the halftime show in week 14 or whatever.
Yeah. All right, I got about 5 minutes, so I'll do one more.
Let's do just a quick rapid fire, and so we don't have to dive into them. We haven't really talked about tight ends, and I'm honestly struggling with. I think this happens every year of like the mid tier of tight ends.
Mm-hmm,
you get out like I'm just like taking my medicine with Sam Laporta, just like when it happens to make sense, whatever. But then, and I'm sort of doing it with TJ Hawkinson because I just think TJ Hawkinson's good, and I always kind of like the Vikings. Like Travis Kelce, I guess it's a little more appealing now with the Rice thing. Mark Andrews.
Has there ever been a more what the fuck tight end than Travis Kelce?
Yeah, like is it over?
An inspiring click, but
yeah,
But also, like Kelce, what Kelce did last year is like pretty good.
If he does, that's the other. I have to like every month I go back and look at the game logs, just like straight right, like noob. Like let's just look at what Travis Kelce did for fantasy, and I'm like, this is a pick 100. I'm like, this is pick 100. This doesn't. That's silly. But I still can't click him
because it could get so much worse. You know, he fell
off
so much.
But then the Rice thing happens. And now I'm like, fuck. So like, is he actually going to come out of the gates better? Like, I don't know. He's definitely WTF. Mark Andrews, I feel somewhat similarly because I feel like the end is near for Mark Andrews. Evan Engram is just like total Evan Engram.
Evan Ingram's a good one.
Like, I see it. I see the typical Evan Engram bullshit. Right? He has a bunch of the games with 1 million targets. Bo Nix is a great fit for Evan Engram. He's in the Joker role, whatever, bullshit that Sean Payton's talking about. But I don't know. Tyler Warren, like I'm intrigued by Tyler Warren, but Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones with Tyler Warren doesn't inspire a lot of confidence, even though I'm intrigued by him and David Njoku, right? Like, I really like David Njoku, the football player, but do I really like David? It's like Olave without the injury risk. Like, what do I do with that guy? That's just the whole tight end thing is weird.
Yeah, I agree. What I'm doing there mostly is just not taking a lot of those tight ends because we're pretty bad at identifying like who the tight end 7 or 8 is going to be in any given year. Like we're just consistently bad at that. And like, what's the point of that? Also, like the tight end 7 or 8, like so rarely matters. So
it's no different than the tight end 12, and you can get the tight end 12 4 rounds later.
Yeah, just get that guy. So it's more to me, tight end is the game of like, I don't want to be left out in the cold, but I take a lot of Hunter Henry. I take Zach Ertz. I take some Gesicki.
I like Gesicki.
Yeah. Who am I? Oh, Brenton Strange. I take a bunch of Brenton Strange. I don't want to get like boxed out into like the Otten or later range so much. That's not very fun, but I tend to. I wish I could take more Loveland. He's one where I was hoping would be a little cheaper with the shoulder injury stuff, and I'm maybe they'll be like, oh, he's still not out there, and I can like start scooping Loveland in about a week. Mm-hmm. But we'll see. I think he's one that I might start targeting a bit more. Let me look at. Oh, Dallas Goedert is way underpriced. He's like one of these types of guys, but he just goes later for some reason.
Him and
Ferguson,
for me.
I think, is a really strong pick. Kincaid, I think, is fine. I'm a little bit overweight on him. But I'm kind of like living in the back half of that range.
And Harold Fannin, we need to shout out Harold Fannin.
Harold Fannin is very.
He might be a WTF player, but I don't care. I'm drafting Harold Fannin. Whatever happens.
I'm at 7% Fannin on Underdog, which is pretty aggressive, given that he often just goes on.
That's true. That's true. DraftKings, I'm significantly overweight on Harold Fannin because every time I get on the clock, or it's like a decision, and I need a tight end. I'm like, well, Fannin goes in round 20. It's like the devil and the angel on my shoulders, and they're like, take the smart tight end, and then the devil, the devil's like, no, take Tyler Algier. Harold Fannin's available later. It's like every single. Anybody else? Quick rapid fire before we get out of here.
I was going to mention Pacheco as a guy that I've still, and kind of the Chiefs backfield is one. I mean, training camp will help us here, but that's just one where I could see in retrospect it being like, hey, remember when the Chiefs starting running back was available in like pick 100 and then like kind of slowly moved up, but still available in like the 7th round and the 8th round, like all the time. And he just like absolutely smashed that
last year. He was so much more expensive last year.
So much more expensive. I could also see like, hey, remember when Pacheco was absolute trash? And we just decided he'd be better because, it's a year removed from when he was trash and he was dealing with an injury. I know, but, this 7th round pick who had like an okay run and then was like truly terrible and lost his job to Kareem Hunt. And then they brought back Kareem Hunt. So that maybe they're not super confident he's going to regain the form. And then they did draft a guy who's kind of interesting as like a pass catcher. And this just evolves into a really, really gross committee And
Eli Mitchell, who you didn't even mention, is the best player out of all of them. Probably the best, has the best NFL track record out of all of those guys. And he's there too.
Yeah. So it's just like, what was more dead zone-y than that? That's the most dead zone profile. Guy you never really thought was good. Guy who last saw sucked. Guy who's like probably in the same community he was in last year because all the same guys are there, plus new guys who are probably better than him. And also the team is one of the most consistently pass-heavy teams in the league. They even were pass-heavy last year when they were boring, and they finally, once Rice gets back, will have two receivers that maybe could help elevate the team simultaneously. So I'm pretty much even with ADP. I don't know what to make of him.
Yep. I don't either.
And I've really I'm actually only at 5%, but I have some higher entry fees stuff on him. So it must be high. I'm at 8% in BBM. So dead even in BBM. I've at first I was really low on Pacheco, and then I kind of got in, and then I was kind of out again as he rose, and now I'm kind of
done the same. I've done the same goddamn hopscotch, double dutch, whatever the hell it's called.
I have a really hard time.
Every time I have a different conversation, I come away with a different. I'm like, it's the Chiefs starting running back. I pick whatever, you idiot. And then the next time I'm like, he's awful. Just take the other guys, you idiot. It's a very weird back and forth on him.
Yeah. But that's all I had.
I will just toss the Vikings running backs in there as well, because I was just hammering the shit out of Jordan Mason, because I have always thought he was a better pick, but now he's gonna pass Aaron Jones in ADP here pretty soon, and it's I don't know, man. Aaron Jones is kind of good at football still too. We've just dead and buried Aaron Jones, and maybe that's right, but it reminds me of the Chiefs, or it's the Vikings running backs are just a sliver more expensive than the Giants backfield. Think about that.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Yeah.
That's absolutely insane.
Crazy.
But I don't really know. It's kind of I'm just
I take more Mason, but I would take more Jones if he got flipped. So that'd be fun, actually. Flip him, 100%. I'll take more Jones.
Let's get out of here. Anything special coming on the horizon? Fresh off of DK Best Ball. DK
Best Ball week. Had a bunch of streams. Had an article up on Legendary Upside. We got by the time you're listening to this, you'll probably be able to check out Michael Dubner's article on week 17. Kind of diving into Best Ball Mania's structure this year. Checking out week 16 versus week 17 versus the regular season, which is obviously very helpful if you're drafting that tournament. And then Matt Irby will have an article out on the site as well. And we have the Sidekick going now with the Sims. So highly recommend going over and checking out legendaryupside.com/sidekick. Very helpful if you're trying to slam in some volume for your July and August drafts.
And aren't we all about right now? And of course, if you're a Legendary Upside subscriber, you get 40% off Spike Week. Combine all the Draft Hacker and Draft IQ and all the different tools that we have over at Spike Week. I've been using a ton of we call it Tournament DB. DraftKings. Speaking of DraftKings, they launched, they haven't updated it yet, but they sent out the data of all the drafts. That's in our Tournament DB, so you can see all the different combinations. You go in, you're on the clock in round 3. You can go see how many teams there are of the first 2 players that you drafted, and it might help you inform some of your future selections. All that comes with Spike Week, and of course, Leg Up folks get 40% off. Go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry. Leg Ups. Promo code Leg Up. Get 40% off Spike Week. One other promo real quick is that you can get a $20 bonus ticket to DraftKings as a Sidekick subscriber. So that legendaryupside.com/perks. Details on that there.
Perfect. I can't give that away yet, but we also have if you sign up for Spike Week, we're going to have a free ticket from a different partner coming here soon. So if you do all of this, you're just going to get a bunch of free shit between Legendary Upside and Spike Week. We'll be back later in the week to bring some more Legendary Sickos to you guys, but enjoy your week, and we'll catch you next time. Peace.